me give you an example here. Let me take a look at your mortgage the way it's set up now. All right, so here's what we're talking about. I have a $300,000 mortgage on the screen at 3.5% for 30 years. That's 360 payments. Your first interest payment on this loan is $875. $875 is the first interest payment. So here's what we're talking about, folks. When we're trying to pay off this loan, she's got this money going to debt. All right, she's got this money going to debt. Her payment is $1,347.13. Okay, but $875 of it goes to interest. This is what's slowing her down. The next month, she has $873. So let me go over quickly what it takes to save money on interest. She's saying she pays a little bit extra every month. So she's paying over a little bit over half of this money, $250 towards principal. Okay. What if she could pay the whole $473 here and 51 cents? She makes her payment here on line 1, let's call it January, and the principal payment on line 2 would be February's principal payment. Instead of the $250 that she's paying now, what if she could pay the total $473.51? Look what happens. She just eliminates the interest on this line, eliminates payment number 2 for only $473.51. And her next mortgage payment for February now is on line 3 of this schedule. Okay, so now she just got rid of $873 interest cost by paying here. Okay, so what if she decided to pay 3 years from now? 3 years from now, the second payment into year 3. So let's go into 3 years. That's 36 months. Okay. All right. So we've completed 3 years. After 3 years, now we pay the second payment into the 4th year. We'd have to pay $525.85 to save $821.28. We're saving $821. That's still significant. $821. Okay. But putting her extra money here 4 years from now, it does the exact same. Her extra money that she has that's going to principal would do the exact same thing by bringing the principal balance down by, let's say it's $1,000. She puts $1,000 on principal here. It still brings the loan down by $1,000. It would bring the loan down by $1,000 here as well on line 2. But the amount of interest that she would save, that is the key. So the amount of interest that she saves, if she puts money down here, she starts saving at this rate, $870, $873, $872, $870. These are the interest costs she can get rid of. Going into her 4th year, oh, $821, $819, $818. Do you see the difference? $1,000 applied to principal does not do the same thing in the 1st year as it does the 4th year, because you save less interest per dollar. So that idea of us being told that anything you can do to get out of debt is as good as any other thing you can do to get out of debt is not true, because the more interest you pay, the longer you stay in debt. Cutting your interest cost, the more severely you cut that interest cost, the faster you get out of debt. Pay less interest, out of debt sooner. Pay more interest, stay in debt longer. Folks, does this make sense to you now? Miss Olga, are you hearing me?
Yes, I just looked at the numbers. Thank you so much. I screenshot it. It makes sense.
So you want to make sure you're putting the right amount of money at the right time so that you can figure out what is the most amount of interest I can save per dollar applied. Now, here's the next thing. Putting too much money on the debt at the wrong time, you will actually save less money per dollar in interest cost. What? There's a point at which more is too much. You better believe it. And here's the last thing I want to say about this, Miss Olga. Lowering the interest cost makes it harder to pay off the loan faster. What did I just say? So there are people right now that are out there trying to refinance their loans, thinking that if I just got this 2.2 interest rate instead of this 4.2 that I'm in, it's going to help me long term. You've just made it harder to pay the loan off faster by lowering the interest rate. And if somebody wants to know that to be true, they're going to have to ask that question specifically. So, Ms. Olga, thank you very much for bringing your question. Is there anything else we can do for you this morning?
So I bought it in June and
Mhm.
I should look at the month. Yes, the way you put it, the calculations. I should see the month and when to start paying how much. Yes.
Well, here's what you want to do. You start in June. That's July, August, September, October, November, December. That's 6 months ago. So you're already 6 months in. Okay. By paying that $250 more. Okay. So you're approximately 2 months ahead of schedule. Approximately a little more than 2 months ahead of schedule by paying the $250 extra. And so if we were to do the math, and I really don't have time to do it here today, but because you can save $473 by paying an extra $473 here, I can save $873 in interest here. I can actually find out what an extra $250 would do for me and how much interest I could save. It's still a significant amount of interest. So what you want to know, Miss Olga, is what is the right amount of money for you to put towards this loan so that you can save the maximum amount of interest per dollar applied. And there's a lot of math that goes to that. So you make so much money, you spend so much of that money, and then what you have to work with, then that's kind of how we make that decision. Out of the money that you have left over, how do we make the decision on how much to pay? Isolating the principal amount is how much to pay and when to pay it. Leveraging is how to pay the least amount of money, find the smallest amount of money you can pay to kill the maximum amount of interest per dollar applied. And then under liquidity, understanding all of your money, understanding how much of that money should be applied to the debt, because we don't look at all of our money the same. And sometimes we cut ourselves short on what we could do with all of the monies available to us. There are more variables here, Miss Olga, that we know of. And by taking a look at all of our opportunities, we could use an opportunity cost calculator that acts like a financial GPS, looking at all of your finances. And when we do that, the calculator will tell you exactly how much to pay, what month to do it in, what day of the month to do it on, and will calculate for you the maximum amount of interest you can save per dollar. That is the real key to what's going on. And anything you do on your own, it's still a savings. But when you have a calculator do all the math for you that is designed to save you interest, you're going to get out of debt. And it's going to save you somewhere between $50,000 and $70,000 more in interest by making strategic moves to pay off your debt. So it's great to be out of debt in 15 years. It's not so great when you find out you paid 50 grand extra in interest that you didn't need to pay to acquire the same asset. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. I tried to put everything in on the calculator and it was some kind of glitch and I never got back to it. So I have to do it. Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right. So you're talking about going and filling
Yeah.
out our
Mhm.
savings report.
Mhm.
If you run into any problems again, call the office and someone will help you through this, because Ms. Olga, it is way too much money involved here to not know exactly what to do.
But Don has some valuable information that can contribute to the quality of a person's life. And it only costs you a few dollars. It's his book. Why not get that?
I'm going to go through the P.I.L.L method myself with some of my investment properties. So I'm going to link up with Don, and then I'm going to sit down with him, show him my investment portfolio, and see how I can eliminate interest.